Hey there, I am Jaime Elizondo, and today I would like to talk to you about the Total Grazing Program. Why do I call it a Total Grazing Program? Because it's just not one event, but a whole year program that takes into account the varying different seasons of the year when we have more forage or less forage produced and how to maintain quality at most. So with this, I want to introduce you to the Total Grazing Program. And I know that you may have some conflicts there because we have been taught to use or to learn some things that may conflict with what we believe and what we believe as paradigms. Despite of the fact that you have seen and heard and watched how the Total Grazing Program does not create the negatives that some people say they will, you still have a hard time deciding. And let me tell you why I understand you. Because I have been through it. We have been taught the opposite of what's best, and it is very difficult to see things with new eyes. They have told you that you need to leave a lot of residue after grazing to protect the soil from high temperatures, low temperatures, sunlight, no sunlight, and anything in between. They have told you that if you force your animals to consume all the plant and not just the best, or the best species and not all of them, you will harm the animal performance. They have told you that if you top graze, your animal will perform better. They have told you that it's best to top graze or graze tall. And they have told you that having your livestock do a high harvest efficiency graze will damage them, and that's cruelty. They have told you many things, and I went through that same process, so I fully understand, because I was told, but when I go back and check that out, it's mostly about scientists, not real life ranchers. And if they are real life ranchers, they didn't have the knowledge that we do have now. What type of knowledge? For example, basic plant physiology. We now know how humus is really formed. At least 80% of humus has to do with how much leaf we have in relation to stem in our plants, and what type of grazing gives you the best leaf to stem ratio, or leafier pastures, a selective top grazing or a down as close to the ground as possible cut as if you were making hay. Well, now we know that's how grasses grow the best and how they improve our soil by creating more humus, and this is only 6 to 7 years old knowledge. So these people that propose theories of selective grazing, they didn't take into account many things that we should not leave outside of the equation. Like on the economic side, stocking rate determines profitability. This means that the higher number of productive animals you can carry through the year in your farm or ranch, the higher your profits will be. But did you know that the higher number of productive animals you can carry without creating overgrazing also gives you higher grass productivity, and also gives you fatter roots, and also gives you greater humus formation? That's because of how nature is and how it works, and it's how God designed it. There needs to be a symbiosis between livestock, grasslands, and soils, what we call land. So if you want higher profits and higher productivity, it pays to look at these little details. I want to tell you that you are not alone in having doubts or concerns or conflicts. Every one of my students, my Total Grazing Program students, and myself have gone through that process, because it's not easy to change the way we think. It's not easy to take the old and learn the new. That's why it's called paradigms. because we realize after implementing the total grazing program that there is no turning back. We're not going back to the old ways, because after observation of what we are implementing, we can see the benefits immediately. It's easy to observe. And we want a program that imitates nature and avoids overgrazing. That's the total grazing program. Even at very high stocking rates, we avoid overgrazing. And that's how nature works. Nature wants to create as much productivity per acre as possible. So I know that you are interested. I know that you want to take the course. So I want to suggest to you to take it. Remember that you have 7 days for a refund. We have a money-back guarantee. So if you, in case you do not like what you're learning, you can ask for a refund. So please remember that good enough is usually the enemy of the best. Why is this? Because good enough makes us comfortable. So if you think that selective rotational grazing, any type that you want to name it, they're all the same because they do selective grazing. We need to do the opposite, high harvest efficiency grazing, which will give you a much longer regrowth period before you come back to regraze, even at very high stocking rates. So if you want to learn the best, there are certain things that need to be in place first. Do not feel comfortable being average. Try to be excellent. We must learn to unlearn in order to leave behind old paradigms that prevent us from reaching the potential that can be achieved. New and better knowledge that does not contradict nature and takes into account the basic physiology of our forest plants and the relationship between livestock, grass, and our soils. I hope to see you in the course.